All right, I think it's time to switch scenes. Hello and happy birthday. No, hello, welcome to the stream. Today I will be looking at the stuff that you can see right here in this little box, my plans and the GeoNodes that I worked with. I will just tell you how I made the setup and just get a quick overview done, because I think making a tutorial on that is not really useful. I got asked to do a tutorial, but I think I am not at the point with GeoNodes that I can actually do it yet. So I will just give a quick overview how it looks currently and what options I added. And then I will be working on some asset management because I still haven't done all of the stuff in detail. So if you're only interested in the setup, then I will let you know until what point it is about the setup and at what point it will not be anymore, and it will be about the asset management. So let me just jump right into this scene, switch over to the full screen view, and then I'm good to go. All right, yeah, I currently do have my GeoNode setup done or available here on the screen, and sort my cables really quick. And I have added some options one after another to create the stuff that I want and to get the options that I want in my setup for the different plans that I'm trying to do. And there is just a lot of options for plants or for the flowers, for the leaves, and for some rotation and yeah, probability and distribution stuff. So yeah, the setup looks like this. It's maybe, yeah, 50%. Yeah, should be 50% for both parts, more or less. And I'm, yeah, just all the time adding some more stuff to that. This is how it currently looks. So the basic stuff is the distribution that I am using to just add the points in general and add the leaves and the flowers. And then, yeah, the other stuff is of course for scaling and the rotation. So scaling is basically all of this. Well, that doesn't work. All of this is the scaling stuff, and then this is the rotation mainly. Yeah, but as you can see, I have not actually managed all of this to look totally perfect because, yeah, I'm still working on it. Let me just hide some of this stuff really quickly, and same for these, so that there's not too much stuff in the way. So as I said, I were going for the distribution of points for the geometry at first. That is just the setup just to get the points down, and for that, of course, yeah, I need some of the input. I'm using the geometry and then distribute points on the faces that the mesh below that has. For example, in this case, let me just turn this off completely. It is basically this cube, and for some reason it has multiple faces on top of each other, which is not really perfect, but okay. In this case, it's not really the way it should look. I think this one should be better. I'm not sure why exactly that happened. Wait a second. So this one, for example, is just a cube. And yeah, the thing is about it, whoops, get the bevel down again and the geometry nodes. So yeah, the thing is it just has 4 different directions for the faces, up and to the left, to the right, and to the bottom. And still we can see that the leaves are rotated all around the center point. And you can also see, if I go into edit mode, grab all of the faces and just move them. So yeah, I currently do have all of them selected. And if I now move them, it will change where the leaves are facing. That is because they are all pointing towards the center. That was actually not really what I was looking for. I was trying to set the leaves along the normals of the faces. But for some setups, it works out to be better this way, and for some setup, it doesn't really. For example, the hedge doesn't work so great with it. You can see that the center point is down here, and then according to that, all the leaves are facing this direction, which kind of makes sense, I guess, for a hedge with when the sun is mostly coming from like this area and shining on top, and then there is no sun on this side and there are no leaves accordingly to that. But yeah, I'm not really sure if I'm totally happy with that. So if I go into edit mode and move it to the center, it looks really strange, because in the middle it looks basically rotated along the normals, and then to the sides it's just really random. So that is also something that I'm still working on and looking into. Yeah, because I think I would most likely want to have like a slider between the normals and the center point rotation. So yeah, that is done with the rotation and the scaling. And yeah, of course, I just have a density slider, which is in this case multiplied by 10, so that I don't have to scroll and scroll and scroll to get the density up. It's just multiplying it by 10. There's not much to that. And then, yeah, I used the setup that I am using to set the growth start, this right here, to also affect where the density is happening, just to turn down the instances. That was hard. The instances to just not only be 0 in the scaling, but also just not be there at all. So right now you can see I'm at 1.7k instances, which is also not really low poly, but I'm just mainly going for the low poly look. And if I turn up the growth start and turn it down so there's not that many, you can also see that the instances have been going down. But you can still see there is 1.2k, which is already still, or it is still a lot. And even if I set it to 0 or minus values, it will stay at 1.1k. So that's not totally perfect yet. But yeah, if I turn it up to 0.5, for example, where there is leaves, or even higher, which is leaves all over the place, then yeah, we are at 2.6k instances. So at least a little bit of that is done by that. Yeah, and then the scaling is just affecting that as well, which is this bar, and that is just a smooth maximum right now. But I'm not too sure about that so far. And then let me just grab the scaling stuff that I used. There's just the position, which is the center point. So also if I change the height, you can see that the instances are, let me actually turn this off, that the instances are not, or that they are affected as well in their growth start, where they're starting. And that is, yeah, just also based on the center point. So the position, and then only the z-axis is used. And then of course the growth start value that I'm using from the group input, and that is added together and clamped down to some values that I figured out turned to work well. And then there's also the RGB curves, which just make the growth smoothly, make them grow smoothly at the line basically where I am doing that. And if I turn that off completely, you can see that it's looking like this, and even the ones at the top are not at full size, and the ones at the bottom are also not at size 0. So that's why I use the curves, to make that a little bit of a harder edge, but also not completely sharp. So you could also use color ramps for that, for example. And then the last thing that I did is to add a random value and just a control for both of that leaf size and random leaf size, so that I can also control these from out of the setup. And these are yeah, added and subtracted from each other. So I just have the basic leaf size, and then I use the random size to once added and once subtracted, so that I can have a minimum and a maximum value. And if the minimum and the maximum random value is at the same, so at 1, then there will be no randomness, and the more I add and subtract, the more randomness there will be. And the point that I did this for, or the reason why I did this, is because if I only affect the max value, for example, or only the minimum value, it will only shrink or grow the leaves when I use a random value. And if I do it like that, it will shrink and grow it randomly, which you can see if I turn the slider up or down. It will shrink and grow some of the leaves. Yeah, I mean, basically this setup is meant to be only used to create stuff at the moment and not to animate it. So it's not all perfectly usable for animation right now. And yeah, just as I said, I don't know too much about geometry nodes yet. I'm not totally into that, so I can't make it perfect so far. And that's how it that is how it looks right now. So I am at the end multiplying the value from the curves, and yeah, multiplying that by the random value that I have at the bottom. And then that is just input into the scale, and also, as I said, as a smooth maximum, into the distribution or the density. So right now it kind of works, but it's still far from perfect basically. And then yeah, I get the instances on the points, and then there's also just the rotation also based on the position, which is, let me also actually also do the rotation, mute this rotation on the instances so that we can see what is happening with only these. This is yeah, basically the rotation that I set to make them look, or to make them face the right direction the same way basically. So if I unconnect this, or not face the same way, so if you look at this, you can see that all the instances are exactly facing the right way, the same way, not the right way. And if I plug this into the rotation again, it will be a little bit randomized based on the values. So there's also the position, and then I multiplied that by 1 on X and Y to zero out the Z rotation, and that turned out to be, or to make them look upwards basically into the sky. Align to Euler, or align the Euler to vector, and then just to the Y axis, and then we have that part. And then to randomize the other values a little bit, I got the combine XYZ and used a slight offset or a slight rotation on X and a slight rotation on Z, a little bit more even, and then multiplied those by -1, so to negatively impact them. Basically the same stuff that I did down here with adding and subtracting, only that I'm now using the opposite. I'm not sure there's a word for that, but I don't know. Not the, yeah, I don't know. Just one's positive, one's negative, and then that's also minimum and maximum as a random value. Same deal here, just as a vector. And now this is subtracted from the base rotation that I set, so that I have a little bit of randomization on all of these instances. Maybe that's a little bit more visible if I turn down the density as well, so that you can see that they are all facing a little bit in different directions. As you can see, it's still only light on this side and darker on this one, for example, and then they are just slightly rotated, so it's not completely random. And yeah, of course you could do that if you just put more or a higher value into the Z input, or a lower value, I guess. Doesn't really matter because it will be multiplied by -1 anyway. Yeah, and that is for the base rotation. So now we have the instances on points and it works. And then there is the rotation, which is basically a similar setup, also using the position and the Z input. Same deal as before. Some curves to make the rotation be working the way that I want and controllable. And then that is multiplied by the fall off that I set. That is better visible for this tree, for example. So if I set the rotation fall off and use this slider, you can see that at the bottom there's not much happening, and at the top there is a lot of rotation change, so that I can just create a fall off and make the bottom leaves rotated more or less, and then both of these are multiplied and added together, multiplying the fall off and the curves, and then adding it to the base rotation. So the base rotation is of course controlling all the leaves, and then the fall off is controlling just a part of that. And the higher I set the value, the more rotation it does. Like more, I don't know, waves basically. It's just creating waves. You can probably see it. That's not super useful for many reasons, I would say. Yeah, I just wanted to have a controller for the fall off mainly. And I set the, oops, no, not that size. On the pine tree, just let's set the leaf size higher, which doesn't work. Why not? I don't know. I really actually don't know why this one is not working. Yeah, whatever. I tried to make a pine tree on that one, and for some reason the sizing is not working at all. So it already broke. My setup is already broken. That is wonderful. I love it. Yeah. Whatever, then not. But I basically did the same, or no, the opposite for the fall off here, and made the ones at the bottom rotate more or stand up higher. I don't know, hard to tell now because the leaf size or the pine needle size is not the same that it was used to be before. So that is the rotation, and then there is also a little bit of translation so that the leaves for all of these pieces are just not intersecting with the mesh by default, but a little bit offset. And then I also added an input to set, to set a material and control it from outside. So that is basically the deal for the flowers, no, for the leaves. And then there is a second setup which does basically completely the same, apart from the end, where the translate instances node is also controlled by a slider. And as I said before, this is also just not really super much cleaned up. In this case, the fall off is multiplied by 0.05, just because, basically for the same reason, because if you just set the slider and do not use this node, it will just be super extremely over the top. Wait, that's not right. Which one am I using? This one, for example. So you can see the change is really obvious, even if I'm just controlling it from 0.5 to 0.8 or something, 0.9, then the change is just completely over the top still. So I did some multiplication by a low value. Then also set this into the z output or input from the combine XYZ, combined it into a vector to translate them only on their local z-axis, sorry, and then yeah, just translate those as well, so that you can control the translation for this one separately. And then yeah, just scale the instances as well. Same deal here. There's also just an input for that, and then there's also another input for the material for these, and then yeah, a slider, or basically a switch, whether it should use the material that is assigned in GeoNodes or the material that is assigned to the instance over. Wait, what the heck is going on? Wow. It broke. What? It doesn't behave the way that I want it to. So this one is just the base, and it's just overriding it. That is the slight slider or the switch basically, which is also a slider for some reason. Yeah, and that is all the options that I got for this plant setup. So what you can do is to control where the growth actually starts, if it starts only at the top or if it goes down to the bottom, so that you can also just control if it's only until the box or not. In this case, just because this is one object, to make it an asset, I just joined all of these together, and that means that I will also grow leaves on the pot itself, which is not perfect. But yeah, as I said, it kind of works. It just does the job, and it is not super detailed. And if I wanted to be completely perfect, I could just apply this and delete the stuff that I don't want. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I will do that in the future. So for the other ones, it is also kind of neat to have that, so that it, this one is not the best example. Maybe this one, yeah, so that the growth is starting not completely at the bottom, like this, and growing through the pot, and that there is also just a little bit of variation in the size for the flower. And then, of course, the density. Wait, whoops. Let's turn this off again. So yeah, we have the density, of course. There's not too much to that, and I'm still sliding a lot, and it doesn't change that much, so I could actually multiply it by even more. Now it's a really smooth transition. Then there's the seed. There's also not too much to that, and then we have the leaf instance, so that I can just grab different parts of my collection or my instances that I made over here, grab them and set them as the instance that is used. Set the color, so for example I can change it to purple or to whatever. Leaf size controls everything at once, and apparently it makes also some of the leaves disappear now. But yeah, if you're not animating it, it works. And then of course the random size, the leaf rotation, and the leaf or the fall off rotation, which doesn't make too much of a difference for this tiny plant. The flower instance, same deal, then if it should use the material or not, and then you can assign a material. Flower probability, I think I haven't really talked about that. So yeah, for the setup down here, there is also an option. Let me find it actually. Flower probability, there it is. And this probability just goes into, there we go, the probability of a Boolean, and this Boolean is then controlling the selection for instancing these. So now I can just control how many of these points will also grow a flower and not only a leaf. And that makes up the flower probability. And then flower size, as I said, will do basically the same thing, but only for the flower. So that can also be changed. And then of course the flower offset. And then that is the current setup, how it looks. And the rest is done by using the materials and the shading, basically. There's also, just go over that really quickly. There's also not too much stuff in here, just mapping of some noise and wave textures combined together, also on the z-axis, so that I just have a variation based on the z position. Same deal, and let me show it on this one actually. If I go into this mode again, yes, there you can see there's just some stripes based on wave and noise. Oops, that is already the shading. put that into a color ramp, and the color ramp is then combined via a color node set to color with the color that I want. So it colors the values from white to gray and sets that into a material. This material group is basically just combining different shaders so that I can either just use the glossy output or the full mix of principled set to subsurface and a radius of 0.1, 100%, a little bit of metallic value in here as well. The same should be almost the basic settings, I think. Specular set to 50, roughness set to 50, then a mix shader between these two set to 50%, a translucent shader, and then also another mix shader to add just a little bit of translucency. So the difference between these shaders can be seen here, for example. He set the growth start to a little bit lower on there and make these full size. Now there's just the difference. Wait, reset this. So now there's the difference between the blue leaves that don't have subsurface scattering and translucency and just look like this, plain from the back and shiny from the front, and then these ones over here, the purple ones, which have some translucency and some subsurface scattering, to look like this, which is a little bit more realistic for leaves, as realistic as this is, and of course takes some more time to render. But it is still pretty quick, I would say. I haven't really used this setup yet, but I think just having the option to change that is pretty nice. And if I grab this setup, turn this off again, and just switch between the full mix that I have in the group and the glossy, then you can see it does this stuff. It's darker because there's no translucency, and also just because there's less reflection, less specularity. I like both setups, like to have both, so that I can change it according to the scene. This one is the faster one, this one is the more realistic, kind of realistic setup. Yeah, I think that works. And then the material is also something that I can set on the shape for the bushes and the plants and the trees themselves, so that there's also some subsurface scattering, because the subsurface scattering on plain leaves doesn't make too much sense. There's the translucency only, yeah. And some of these use that and some of these don't. So for example, on this tree, that is the difference, which takes some time. There we go. So this one and this one. Yeah, just a little bit more light shining through. And especially if you're looking against the sun, that might just be looking really nicely. Like that. Yeah. And I think it's just a good thing to have the option to change this really quickly on the fly to look which one is better. So for this one, it seems to not make such a difference, but there is a little bit. And in the final result, there will be definitely a difference. I haven't rendered these out yet. Yeah. But I think that is quite nice to have these, and I think I could just add some of these to my asset collection, which I will do next. And to do that, I will turn this off. So yeah, that is all about the setup for the plants. Now let's just make some assets out of those, which isn't too hard. Go to asset browser. And then this one, as I said, is already an asset. Yes, down here. And so far there is no support for collections. As far as I know, this one is Blender version 3.0.1 currently, which does not support collections as assets. And I'm not sure if that's planned. That's been worked on, but I would really appreciate that actually, so that I can just grab like this plant and the pot and make them an asset, which is currently, as I said, just not the point or not the case. So actually, let me grab this and put it over here on that side. Make this one a little bit bigger and close this. And then this one, for example, is the first version that I did based on a tutorial from brainchild.pl. So if you are interested how to model stuff like that by hand, then I recommend to check that out. If I don't forget, I can also add that later. Yes, and of course that gives you more control over what you are doing, but that also means more work to get it right. But for example, in this case, I don't have any leaf intersections by default, which obviously will not be the case if I do it randomly. There will be some intersection for the flowers in this case, and here leaf and flowers are intersecting. You could try to fix that by changing the seed, but I guess at some point, if the density is high enough, there will just be no seed that completely fixes that. Oh, yeah. I'm pretty much fine with that if it's not too obvious. Like, for example, in this case, I will probably just actually change the seed to something that works. Try out some variations. This one might be a little bit nicer. Yeah, and if it doesn't work out, I mean, I can still, in the end, just change it to mesh and apply the GeoNodes setup so that it does not have so many intersections. Yeah, this one might work, for example. Oops, and yeah. Now, the first thing that I will be doing, which is not the case so far, is to sort them a bit. I don't think that I need this one anymore, because I will not use this. Oh, and yeah, of course, right now, because there is also a decimate modifier based on the global position of all of these, there will also be randomization based on the global position. This one is the same thing. I think I do not have anything here that does not have the modifier apart from this one. So yeah, if you do not have any other modifiers than the GeoNodes, which is the case here, then it will work and you can change it based on the position. But if the base shape changes, of course, then of course also the GeoNodes will change. That's something to keep in mind. Wait, no, I don't need that. Yeah, just let me grab these, put them a little bit over flower pots, rounded. This one also go here. This one, I don't know. I'm not too sure. This is the tree. Yeah, I guess I can work with that. I will not use this one because it's broken. And this one, yeah, I might need some more variations of that. That's basically nature bush that I can work with. This one, not sure. I don't think that I want that. And this is basically a copy on this one. So this one, wait, No, I deleted something that I didn't want to delete. Oops. Well, that sucks. Okay, grab these over here. Delete this one. Delete this one. This one can also go there. And then these can also go here. So that I have a little bit of organization based on that one. And yeah, I guess this one goes over here. Bigger and smaller ones. Wait, where is my cursor? There it is. I just lost it. Save. Probably a good idea as usual. Good. And now I can convert these. I will actually try to do that fully, make a copy all of these, and let's just check. Seed here looks good. What is happening if I... Wait, no, I have to apply some of the modifiers first. So apply displacement, decimation, and same for solidification, bevel, and displace on the pot. And then these could, in theory, be added together. Oh, yeah, I have not applied the material to all of these. So that is maybe something that I should do first. They just don't have any material, which is of course fine if you're working with... Wait, in this case it does? No. Let's actually go in here. That is also not a mistake. I'm not really too sure why that works the way it does, but if I add a material, I think that should be fine. Let's just check that. New material, and I think for this one there would be going a basic glossy material in there, set to maybe even 75%. And whoops, no, go back here. So that is this one. Yeah, I'm not too sure if I like that. Just call it plant pot right now. Maybe I will actually use a diffuse material. I think I have to decide that later. For now, just link materials. And then I think I can not... No, wait. Select... No. Select grouped. What am I doing? No, I want to select link. Link, yes. Shift L material. That doesn't work because they don't have it. Okay. Just making sure. So before I do all of that, link the materials, Control L, and put, no, not those. Like that. Perfect. Now, hopefully, this will work. It does. Perfect. Now it's also smooth, which is maybe not even the bad thing. I think I do kind of like that. Now it has the same auto smooth value as the leaves and the, yeah, like the leaf base, I think I would call it. So same deal for these. Wait, no. Do have to apply that first. apply. Same, apply. And then join together. That is pretty basic. Apply. All of these. Nice. Join together. Wait, that was the wrong way around. Yeah. And as you can see, even though we have the pot that is added to the GeoNode setup and could grow leaves, it is not, just because the growth start is set to something right at the bottom of the base shape. I think, for example, if I have flower growing on here, these tiny ones, that's not too worse, not too bad. It could be worse. And yeah, as I said, I will probably also change the setup, so I am not really sure if I would like to keep them this way and add them as assets. So let me actually do that really quickly. Actually move these to a new collection. Plant pots, assets, so that I know which ones are in that already. Perfect. Okay, there is apparently a lot outside of collections at all. Yeah, I guess. So these are those potted plants. All right. Whatever. Good. This one is the bush cube one, and then we will call this one sphere. No, bush sphere or spherical. I don't know. Spherical, maybe 0, 1. Could also, wait, that was wrong. 0, 2, of course. That didn't work again. And 3. So now we can mark these as assets. Save the file, and there should be another one open. Scene collection, and then wait, I haven't assigned these to anything. That also means that they are not in there. Do they? Are they? Let me check. No, they're not. Wait, they are not yet. Here they are. They're still not assigned. So right now, it is actually not only importing the asset, but also the leaves that are placed over here. And that is, of course, because of the GeoNodes. And I guess it's adding both flowers because the base, before setting it in this, was set to something. There's like a default value. I think that should be the reason. So maybe I can fix that. But there will be the leaf instance and there will be the flower instance. So I'm not too sure. Actually, let me check what happens if I do another one. Okay, it makes duplicates, which is not too nice. I wonder if I could fix that somehow or not, but that is currently the thing that is happening. What maybe will be possible is to either put those, wait, those are already in the collection, flower instancing. And apparently there's more in this than I would like to have there. Okay, let's move all of this out of the collection, scene collection, and then only select these and move them back into flower instancing. So right now I could turn those off, save the file, and whoops, I am not sure what happens if I reload this and then get them in again. Okay, nothing. It's still the same. No, again. Wrong stuff. Righty. Go here. And instead of, I'm just trying stuff right now. Instead of hiding the full collection, I will try what happens if I make them invisible and also not rendered. Yes, thank you. Device charged so I can get rid of my cable. Just in the way all the time. Save this again and just try it one more time. Reload and drag that in. It will be there. It will set to not rendered. What? What? But it will be in the scene. I mean, I can't change that it will be imported, of course, because it's needed and instanced in the GeoNodes. But it would be nice if it was not visible. And that is the only thing, the only problem that I currently have with GeoNode based assets, that it's also importing the instances and importing the instances, I guess, based on the position on the, I don't know, yeah, the position compared to where the asset was in the other file. And that will mean if I do all of this over again, that it will always just create these all over the place. If I, okay, yes, great. If I keep adding these, there will be more. Yeah, I guess it does work. I mean, right now, I still have the option to change all of the stuff. But I don't think that it is a great asset if it's spraying these like crazy all over the place. So I assume it would be the best thing to just completely convert them into a mesh. If I do that right now, if I just type it in mesh, convert to mesh, it will, yeah, get rid of all of that. To fix that, I need in my GeoNodes and realize instances, I guess here. So we can, in theory, do it now. Perfect. It's all applied. Just needs to be added together. But the only thing is that it's, of course, now all not instance anymore and more actual geometry in the scene, which is not really what I would like to have. Would be cool if it could still stay as instances. And apparently also the shading is gone. The auto smoothing. Or it's just, yeah, I guess that makes sense. It actually does. Because it's all set to the same stuff. It would be really nice to actually place collections into assets. I really hope they do add that, because I wouldn't have all of these issues. So if I go into, nope, edit mode, grab these, can't select similar ones, area, material, yes I can, material, perfect. 19 o'clock. I'm thinking how to get the auto smoothing back for only these without messing too much of the other stuff. Yeah. I mean, in theory, it would be so easy to add all of these assets to my asset manager, to my asset browser. But yeah, just because I have to apply all of the stuff and add those into a mesh, merge them all together, there's some issues with that, because I'm using the auto smoothing option a lot, and I'm using different values, and I'm using different modifiers. I haven't noticed that with these, but I think it's the same stuff. I think I have, or did I not? No, there's actually no auto smoothing on these. I guess that's fine, because it looks kind of weird. Not sure. Okay, this does definitely look weird. I have no idea why. Okay, because the normals are weird. It would be nice to keep those the way they are. And yeah, for this, the auto smoothing, there's no auto smoothing on the round one at all. It's just completely smooth. Okay, here there could be just a little bit. Yeah, I'm not too sure about it, but it also is not working if I do it that way. This one is also not smooth. And if I do it, then the flowers will also not be smooth anymore. That's something that I still have to figure out, and where I do not really have a solution for. I mean, there is kind of stuff that you can do. Sharpen stuff based on the auto smoothing, and then apply that, and edge split modifier and stuff like that. But it is, yeah, that is really not what I'm looking for. Okay. I think I will be. I have to mess around that a little bit more so that I know what I am working with. That I actually know what I am doing. Can I somehow cheat that into working the way I want? I'm not sure. Also, where is the sun? Is it not using the sunlight? No, it's not. Okay. That's why it looks this way. There we go. Okay. Maybe I will just keep it for now and work with these. But I am really not sure. Because I do like these smoothed out a lot better. That's just a lot nicer. But apparently hard to work with if combined together into one mesh. Wow. All right. Why are all of these sharp? Marked, unmarked. Do I want a different style? Do I want to... mark? I thought I could do that by... or automatically somehow mark all the spots that are currently marked as... or are currently shaded sharp as a sharp thing. So that I can only do it for these. But it's marking all edges. Question is if I can do it differently. Operations. Button. Oh no no. Okay, I'm not too sure how to fix it. So I assume for now, yes, all of these are changed now. I will, no, not add all of them together, but the pot and that one, and the pot and this one. Then the other blue one, the green one. This is, and this should. Okay, so the pot is the least of a problem. Shading it smooth. This is also working. Yeah, I think the main issue is just the spheres. I think they look weird if they are shaded not smooth at all. And if I change the angle, yeah, I have to set it really high. Yeah, 40, 42. And that's overall just a little bit too much. Oh, future me. Let future me decide that. So I'll add these to the asset browser now, and I think that will be done for now. I don't really, yeah, I thought it would be easier, so I'm not really too comfortable with fiddling around with this currently. And I think I will bother on my own first, so that I actually know what I'm working with. Yep, grab them and plain pots assets. And then I should be able to, wait, how is that again? Edit battery name, Control F2. Set name. New name. Is it spherical? And then characters, digits, and is that right? No, that's not right. Yo. I'm really not using this too much. Yeah, kind of. Not exactly what I wanted. I really am not using this too much. Okay, but right now 04. I'll just do the rest by hand. 05. 06. Then 07. I can count, that's wonderful. 08. Oh, I can't. Apparently 09, 08, and 010. No, 09 this time. Perfect. And then mark these as assets. Save the file. And really quickly check this one. Wait, nope. Actually assign these pots into vegetation, which would probably get another category, a subcategory. Sudden German influence there. We save the file and then reload. Whoops. Vegetation. There we go. We have all of this stuff, and let me just delete all of this crap. So this is a big mess. Now it is... What? What's with you? I am very confused. It's in... That's the other ones. Do I have to remark them as assets? Clear mark asset? Preview? What I'm wondering is, why does it still have the leaves in there when they are not part of the mesh? What the heck? I know I changed some stuff, but that is weird. What? Clear asset. Mark asset. Assign. I have questions. So basically nothing that I want today is working the way that I want. Okay, that's fine. Let's grab all of these again. Maybe I really have to reload it completely once. Okay, something is really off with these. I have no idea why. And it crashed. I'll try it one more time. If it doesn't work then I'll be off. Okay. There we go. There we go. It is there. It has materials. It looks really bad in the sliding, but it is there. Perfect. It does work. Kind of. That's wonderful. So now I have some pots that I can't change anymore because they are a mesh. Hello? Yeah. Well, well, well. We learned something today. That nothing works as expected. Well, we knew that before, but that is fine. Okay. All right. got some more plans done and added to the asset management, and I was hoping to do more. And we'll also add more stuff to this, to the trees, stuff that is already done but not into my library yet. But yeah, that should be easier because it's not based on GeoNodes. So far it's kind of tricky, I guess, to work with GeoNodes and assets and yeah, collections. Yeah, I think collections would be really a great thing to add to the asset browser to just make sure that stuff is not, that stuff does not have to use, that modifiers don't have to be applied. And yeah, also just the stuff that we just saw, the auto smoothing doesn't have to be applied, that the GeoNodes don't have to be applied, and that all of this stuff works the way it was intended to be. Because just adding all of the stuff into one mesh, that's yeah, kind of messy. I mean, that also means that none of these instances is an instance anymore, and it's all one mesh. It's not duplicating anything and reusing the data, but instead just creating all into one asset. Yeah, and I would prefer if that was not the case. So I really hope they do change that some point in the future. These ones can go into flower pots. Archive really quick. Yep. Perfect. Then I can turn this off. Good. Now I can save it. That's it then for today, and I hope it works a little bit better next time, that a little bit more stuff is working the way that I wanted to. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you soon and have a good day. And also goodbye.